How much salt do you put on your food? I never measured, but I'm sure, like most of you, I grew up with this idea that if you can't use too much salt because it's going to give you high blood pressure. And I remember that when I was young, my brother was a teenager and got diagnosed with high blood pressure. And the whole family had to suffer. Yeah, every meal from that point forward was bland. The doctor said salt was the problem, so my mom removed the salt from everybody's meal because heaven forbid he eat from our plates, right? These types of experiences follow us. We become adults and apply these rules to every scenario where we're trying to get healthy. We minimize the salt and suffer through the meals because we saw the results, right? So my brother's blood pressure actually went down. Maybe it was your own blood pressure you're dealing with and it got regulated. But the problem happens when we do keto. And that low salt rule is quietly working against our good health in the background there. Please subscribe. We start keto very excited. We've heard all about the benefits, the mental clarity, energy, the mood stability, just to name a few of them. But many keto newbies report intense headaches that sit behind their eyes and ruin their entire day, being extremely exhausted, like to the point that sleep doesn't even help. Like talking about being tired 10 minutes after waking up in the morning. That's more than just fatigue. And what about those leg cramps? I personally have jumped out of bed from a deep sleep to try to put pressure on my foot to end a cramp. But we came prepared, right? We knew about keto flu and we were prepared not to feel good in the first week or even two. The problem is when it doesn't stop, or worse, when it stops, but then comes back a few months later or even a few years later. When we've had amazing weight loss, extended time feeling great, and then we're back to cramps and headaches and irritability, we start to question the diet. And we'd be right. The diet has begun an amazing healing process that is actually exposing a huge problem. When keto works, insulin drops back down to normal levels. And this allows for weight loss and the reversal of metabolic health issues, all great things. That's absolutely lovely. What I didn't know was insulin is involved in how much sodium your body holds on to. So when insulin is high, your body is holding on to sodium, which leads to high blood pressure. And then we do keto, insulin drops, and we lose 20 pounds of water weight. Yeah, that water weight at the beginning of our keto journey that everybody's like, it's just water, who cares? That stuff is happening. So that loss is happening because insulin lowers and allows us to release all that extra sodium that we've been basically hoarding over the years. But now we're in a new problem. And it's more than the fact that we've been peeing more in the last few weeks than when we were 8 months pregnant. It's worse than that. We're extremely thirsty and drinking more than we've ever drank before. And we're concerned about it. We have headaches and cramps and are feeling tired all the time. This is beginning to feel wrong, right? We're paying even more attention to how we feel, to what's going on. We focus on our food to make sure that we're doing keto correctly. So we try to dial it in and we still feel horrible. And we begin to believe that keto just doesn't work for us because we're built differently or we're too metabolically challenged. Like that's what I would have thought. Or we should have started when we were younger. We're too late now. All the while, in our effort to be good, we still think being healthy means minimal salt. The problem is, minimal salt was never healthy. And I learned that from Dr. Barry just a few months into my keto journey. He was talking about how every cell in our body has a sodium potassium pump, and therefore we need more salt than we've been getting. Like we weren't getting enough. And yet somehow I still ended up with leg cramps 3 years into my keto diet. Why? Because it's hard to just let go of rules you've lived with for years. Somehow, over time, my salt intake would dip and I'd have to make a conscious effort to bring it back up. So, when our insulin is back to baseline, we need more salt. When I interviewed Dr. Hampton about leg cramps, he specifically mentioned that we need to get our salt up and at least have 7 grams of salt, right? And that salt doesn't cause high blood pressure. As a matter of fact, adding the salt helped the cramps to stop and the headaches to go away, and I'm sleeping through the night. So, can you imagine what it felt like to conquer those problems, Wellness Warrior? To be in charge of your health because you listened to your body and made the decision that was best for your body? And here's what our bodies have been telling us all along. It needs both salt and sugar. But unlike salt, our body can make all the sugar it ever needs. So since eating both in high amounts causes water retention and problems, to me, it only makes sense to eat salt and let our body take care of the sugar. To food companies, that's a problem. That's not going to work for them. They're going to scream about it. Salted protein isn't craving producing, but sugary snacks are. Blaming salt for our high blood pressure was the best way to ensure that we keep eating garbage. But eating garbage, as you know, is causing our health and weight issues. So, we started with the idea that less salt is better. But we now know we need more salt. The question is, how much more? The one thing that resonated with me from Dr. Barry was to listen to my body and salt my food to taste. Wellness Warrior, that puts you squarely in the driver's seat. If you don't put enough, it'll taste bland. If you put too much, you're going to hate it. And that makes the most sense because from day to day, moment to moment, the amount we sweated, drank, or whatever else impacts our sodium levels will be different. I can't tell you specifically today how much salt you need on your food. You can't tell me. But if we do this right, we'll have fewer headaches, cramps, and less exhaustion. Will it completely eliminate them? Of course not. Our bodies are much more complex than that. You can check out my interview with Dr. Hampton to see what else he talked about that would help us to manage our leg cramps, for example. But what's most important is that we now know it's actually useless following the low sodium rule when you're doing keto or carnivore, because that rule isn't made for healthy bodies, right? It's made for people who are high in insulin, so eating the standard American diet, and sick. Our kidneys are working perfectly, eliminating the extra salt and keeping us healthy. And now we know how to support our kidneys in doing what they're doing, right? Just imagine how your life is going to be impacted now that you know this. I would love to know what you think is going to improve for you. Or better yet, what has already improved because you decided to eat less sugar and eat the correct amount of salt for you? Put in the comments below. I find it so encouraging to read your stories of how you're succeeding too. And that's going to help the new people to see that it works. This isn't a fantasy, Wellness Warrior. This is what happens when we stop being managed and start living based on real information. And if you'd like more information that helps you to take action on your health, you should sign up for my monthly newsletter, The Road Ahead. Every month, I give you one actionable tip to help you make real changes, and you'll have the links to last month's videos so you can have all the information you need to stay on the road to health. And every once in a while, I like to throw in a bonus content of some sort, so check it out. And now, click on the link. You check out Dr. Hampton's video where he walks you through how to get rid of those leg cramps if you've already tackled the salt piece. I'll meet you in that video on the road to health.